about VAR. We don't need to worry about anything like that. And then the other thing is all these folk, I was listening to that radio Clyde or whatever it's called, and they were all phoning in there, so-called Rangers supporters and pulling the Rangers to bits. I'm critical of the Rangers, but I'm critical of the Rangers on our own forums and when I'm talking to fellow Rangers supporters. Because what we're saying, we know it's not good enough. Just the same as I'm sure Gio and Broncos knows it's not good enough. And he's a manager. But I honestly believe that the tide will turn and will get better. And just the same as obviously if it doesn't get better, Gio will go. And everybody knows that. But there's no MD sitting at the end of the phone, any of the top managers in the world, just sitting at the end of the phone now saying, I'm just waiting for Donald Park to phone me up and say, can you come into the Rangers and sort us out and I'll give you a motor and a few quid to spend? That's not going to
I'm here.
That's not going to happen. So when you hear all these people saying, oh, Gio will need to go, Gio will need to this and that and the next thing, and then the ludicrous situation about folks saying about, what's his name, him at Aston Villa, now Gerrard, away, or get Gerrard and that. You know, there's more chance and probably more success if we brought back Boris Johnson as a Prime Minister. You know, all these things aren't going to, you know, Gerrard came, he won an important league for us, but that was only one. You know, he wasn't some great shakes as manager. Probably the team he had round about him were other guys at Queen's Park Rangers, Beale and all the rest of it, and all his backroom staff, all his medical staff, and the whole entourage. It was the right package to be at the Rangers at the right time. And it proved that, just the same as the COVID fell into our hands and that other screwball that was at Parkhead that just gets sacked there. He was a manager. All these things played into our hands. But it's time some of the Rangers supporters get real, back to club, back to manager, and see if we can get out of this situation that we're in, which isn't that much drastic. It's not that drastic.
Cheers, mate. Well, I'll send you to somebody who was also there in the days of Tiny Walking and that. Southside.
Hey Jimmy, listen, I can tell we've seen worse Rangers teams than this, right?
Aye, 100%.
Exactly, right. And I've said on here that we've just got to knuckle down, calm down, and just try and get the team into a bit of playing better football. Giovanni is doing what he can now with the players. We've took a lot of hefty injuries, and once we start to, if we, as me and Ox said on here that we looked at the fixtures coming up in the league and we said, look, these are all winnable, right? There's about 9 fixtures and they're all winnable. If we win them, and then all we need to do is see where we are. And if we're ahead of them across the city, but then good on it. And then hopefully we get some of the injured players back and we can start to see a wee bit more creative players come back into our team, like a Tom Lawrence and Tillman together at some point if we can do it. Yilmaz looks as if he's got something about him. But Ben Davis is looking better as he's coming into the team. So we've got positives to look for. We just need to knuckle down the now and get to the World Cup bit where the break comes, and hopefully we'll pick up maximum points, Jimmy. That's all I've said on here. And the European games coming up, you'll obviously, if we don't get a good result next week, there'll be people on shouting and bawling. But see, you know, the most important thing we need to concentrate on is win this league, and let's see if we can win the League Cup coming up, because that's the next trophy available. But let's go for this league, because we can win it. There's no reason why we can't win this league. We're not playing great football, but so what? We're picking up points every week, Jimmy. You know,
there's been seasons that we've not won the league and we have been playing great football. We went through this season and we went to the last game of the season. I think it was Aberdeen at Ibrox, and they beat us in the last game. I think it was in the 68, 69 or something like that. And we never won the league. There's been countless occasions that we have won the league and we've not played great football. So I think we just have to give them time and see what happens. Because times, if we play in tomorrow against Livingston and it starts to click and somebody goes out there and rattles in 2, 3, 4 goals, then the confidence in the mood all changes. So it does. But I think the European games that's left should be used to experiment with the style of play and the players we've got. Because we're taking hefty knocks in Europe. And there's no point in the manager telling them they're great one week and they're doing this and then they're getting beat 4 and 5 and 7-1 and all that. Because right away the confidence goes. But you're up against an opposition. As you rightly say, we need to focus on the Scottish League Cup, the Scottish Premier League and the Scottish Cup. That's what we need to win. And we need to keep winning that regularly. Then the confidence goes up. Then we qualify for Europe without too much hassle. And then we can start picking away at that a wee bit at a time. But to think that we can just do it, Well, back Gio tomorrow, and then you say, and who are they talking about coming in? Bringing in a Blue Nose, bringing in McInnes, bringing in that guy at Livingston that we're playing against tomorrow, bringing they guys in. Fair enough, but I don't see it as that easy, you know. And when are they going to get the money for the players? Apart from all that, they're busy building.
The game's about players, Jim. You're right, and we're not playing well. I think we're all accepting that, GB. We're all accepting that. But statistically, the form's all right, GB, points-wise.
Aye,
Ox. I mean, points-wise, we're there and thereabouts. I mean, the other night was a cup game. I mean, it wasn't the end today with the league, so the league starts back tomorrow for us. But I think what it was, especially for me, Ox, was that I didn't bother about Champions League performances because we were playing very, very good teams. But when we went up against Dundee, I was expecting us to put on a good performance for the fans at home, and it was very, very disappointing. As much as it was a very changed team, I mean, we still had good talent up front there, and as much as we're trying to say that, like, say, Scott Wright, Morelos, and Fashion are like first 11 and that, but I mean, if you can't put on a performance against Dundee, what chance do you go against, like, say, Livingston tomorrow, or like an Aberdeen in a couple of weeks' time and stuff like that? But these guys have got to go out and make a statement themselves. Not so much Gio, but these players that are sitting in the wings, and they're just not doing it.
See, after the game, when the game was finished, there was 4 names in the hats outside. Remind me, were we in it?
Yep, we sure were. And that's the thing. If we go and win this cup, nobody's going to think about how we played against Dundee.
2003, Biggin, 2003, Drury, Berwick, Rangers, McLeish, get rid of him, yeah?
Aye.
Won the treble.
Aye. Exactly. There's too many Rangers supporters forget all that. And the young ones, they need to look at the history of the Rangers and see that that's what we're all about, winning. And they get there, because it's not all been plain sailing.
Give me a season, GB, and I'll give you a bad result, and I'll give you 5 bad performances.
Aye.
Oh, I mean, if
give me a season.
2012.
2012, the actual 2012-13 season.
No, 11-12.
We get beat with them. They beat us, Parkhead.
Mm-hmm.
The world had came to an end.
All right.
Remember, we won that league because they get beat with Inverness Cali. They gave us a lifeline.
Mm-hmm.
They beat us 2-0. Yeah.
I agree, Ox. I mean, at the end of the day, if Gio goes the full season and gets 1-0s and wins as a league, I mean, like Southside says, we're not going to be caring about the result, but the grumbles will go on about performance and play, because if he keeps saying in press conferences,
it'll be debated, and nobody's saying we're playing well. Nobody's saying we're playing well. I've not heard anybody say that.
But you've made a point right enough, though, that see the players that we have go out in injury. I mean, I've said it at the start of the season. When I seen Lawrence and Kent together at the start of that season, there was a partnership there. There was a partnership building, and then that boy ended up having to get that knee injury out of nowhere. And I honestly think if he'd stayed fit, and he would have brung Kent on, and Kent's form would have improved, definitely. When we need him back, I can't wait to get to this break, because I want to get to January. I want us to be refreshed and go again, because I think we will definitely see a different team. But again, unfortunately, you don't get time as a Rangers manager. I mean, it'll all go in these. Every league game is going to be important for Gio now. But I think, as you've said, Jimmy, who do you get in if you go with this? Because I don't think the board have not got the money.
We're miles away from that. That ain't happening.
No, that's what I'm saying. We've not even got, like I say, Ox. I mean, if we've just brought in a new coach, there's no way we're going to have a total red out. I mean, because we can't afford that. We can't afford to pay these guys off.
I think there's times that I said last week after the game, and we questioned all the performances, and you're frustrated, and this show's live, so you say things that when you think about it, you sometimes don't agree with. Is that fair, Southside?
Aye. Look, I mean, we've all seen Rangers finish 4th and 5th in a league, right? We've had the good times, we've had bad times, but we're in a league fight, and out the Old Firm battle, Celtic, whatever you want to call it, the game, it doesn't matter, right? We've been up there before, we've been beaten, we got beaten, we shouldn't have, we should have learned lessons and we should have put a better performance, right? But we've got to accept it. We can turn that again at Ibrox. And by that time, we go to play them. I'll expect us to have Mary a better team on the park. And I'm just hoping, like we've all said, it's just about getting a bit of confidence. We've just got to get these other 2 European games in between. All we're doing is we hope we put up a decent performance and fight. That's what we're hoping for. But see, to be honest, Doc, if you're asking me right now what's more important, next Wednesday or next Saturday against Aberdeen, then I'm putting Aberdeen in there. Because we've got a league title to fight for. You know, and that's the way I see it now. I've told you before, Europe's always the gravy. And I said, away back at the start, at the end of the season, when we're going into the Champions League to qualify, I says, we can't go mad and spend stupid amounts of money in the Champions League to try and qualify.
No.
Right, and we've not really done it, but we've bolstered a left-hand side of our team that Ross Wilson probably thinks that's going to be a wee bit of the future. Davis and Yilmaz. And on the right, he gave contracts to Tav and Golson. So he thinks they 4 added with Suter, probably when he comes back fit, and maybe probably on if they fling Sands in there as cover and Borna. So he's looking at the moment, that's our defence, probably even going forward next season, I would think, in his eyes. That's what he's done. We now need to bolster the midfield for the next time we go in. We need to go in and buy players for midfield.
That's part of the problem for me.
You know?
Part of the problem, the midfield. There's issues there, creativity, pace, age. Thoughts, Jimmy?
Oh, 100%. I just think that supporters have to look at themselves as well and say, well, what the situation? I mean, years ago, we were all singing about a boy that came back from Sunderland, shouting, Ali, get to F. You know, look at what happened to him. It changes quickly, football. And it can, it's just the same as it is. We're right in the mix. So give him a chance, give Gio a chance, and see what we can do. And I don't think we'll be that far. I don't think we'll do badly. Europe, again, forget about Europe. I say to this programme, talk to you one of the first times I phoned, the League Cup to me is more important than any Euro Leagues, European Cups or anything, because we've not won it. So we won that. And then we move on. Forget about the Europe and all that. We'll get back in there. And when we do get back in there, we can start building and we can start competing. We're not going to win it, but we can do better than we're doing. But you just get the belief back in the players, get the confidence, and then see what they can do. Because the confidence, they're not scared. When you watch them, it was against Motherwell last and Sunday. They were scared. Same on Tuesday or Wednesday there against Dundee. They're scared. You can see that. They don't know really what to do. They're looking to play the safe ball, play it back, play it sideways. There's none of them want to take a chance.
Are you saying the confidence has disappeared for the team, Jimmy?
Confidence is getting away because we've took all these hammerings. 1 minute they're getting told they're the greatest things since sliced beef. We're in the final of the Euro League. We're doing this, we're doing that, and then the next thing we're getting pumped by all these teams. We're not a bad team. We're not a great team. But if we play to our abilities and believe in ourselves and fight for every ball, and people have questioned the fitness, but I'm not sure about that one because we went to a few extra times, particularly last season, at the end of last season, with Gio in charge. The Celtic and the Cup, and a couple of games in Europe. Well, there was one game in Europe before the Cup semis.
It was Braga at home.
Aye, the Wednesday, and then we played on the Sunday, and we've done the 2 big extra times, and then even in the final in Seville, we went. So I don't think they've not changed all that right away and said, right, we'll change all our training methods. I don't believe that for a minute. But I honestly don't think the Rangers are too far away, and I think that the fans need to sort of listen up a wee bit. And always remember that there's no any guy just sitting in the end of their phone waiting in the off chance that the Rangers will phone up. Any player that we sign is within their budget and within our realms of possibility. They're not going to be a world beater, because if they were a world beater, somebody else would already have them. with the big money, But we can improve all the time if we just have patience and believe. And I believe it'll come all right. I believe this will pass. It's not a train crash. It's not a train crash.
No,
I'll leave it at that, lads. I'll leave it at that. No.
And
I'll leave it at that, lads, anyway, okay?
All right, cheers, right, Jimmy. Nice to speak.
Good night, lads.
Cheers, Jimmy.
Lads. Take care. Good night.
Yeah, I think you see it slightly different, so I'll let you go first, JB, and then come back to you, Southside.
No, definitely the patience is needed, Ox, because like I says, we're in a hard on a rock place. We can't go anywhere now. We can't sign anybody. So we have got to back the team and crack on. Like I says, all we're asking for is just for, tomorrow we're going to have a star striker back in the squad. So happy with that. And like I says, there'll be a couple of more, hopefully, legs in the midfield tomorrow. Like say Arfield and stuff like that. Like I says, he's got to be probably the runner tomorrow. But we just need, what I says, a big performance and some good goals, and I think, like I says, it'll help settle a few folk down. I think we've kind of limped by since Old Firm game. I think that took everybody by surprise that we kind of went into that and we got that result again. And since then, it's been probably brewing a wee bit because the performances haven't been that way, like a reaction going in and hammering teams the way certain other teams are doing it in the league now. But what it says, if we get through this and we push on to Christmas and stuff like that and we get these players back, then hopefully we'll get all the talent back in the team and we'll start hopefully seeing Gio's team, because I don't think we're seeing that now. Not for what he's saying in press conferences.
Southside, then we're going to hear for the gaffer again.
The only issue I took up with Jimmy's point at the end, because he made a lot of good points, is we did go into extra time and all that last season, but I think that was a top up for the 3 seasons that Gerrard had us pre-seasons. I think the players were really fit even when Gio came in to take over, and I think now when you look at the start of this season to now, when we look at our squad, I don't think they look anywhere near as fit, but that's just my own personal opinion. I look at that. The players had a couple of high pressure games, made a boo-boo in the first game, had to turn it around at Ibrox. We got the result, and that mob's doing no bad in their Europa League, top of their group, beating German teams. Then we had a big game against PSV where I thought we played well at Ibrox, close to set pieces, and then over there we picked them out. Massive games for the club. Went on, and I think Livingston, your first game of the season, Ox, is always one of the games in that surface, and at the end of the day we got the result there. Since then we've had a few 4-0 wins, a couple of decent performances, but at the end of the day we're still in this league, and at the moment we're only 2 points behind. We've got everything to fight for. We've got a squad that I think recruitment could have been better. I'd like to have a few players in quicker to try and make a mark in the team, like Ben Davies. And we've suffered another few injuries. I just think if we can club together, get through these next games, win them, and then we can start to have a right go after the World Cup. And I'm hoping then we'll have some football players back in our team. If we don't start playing any better football, I'll say it now, I don't care how we play. See, as long as we pick up 3 points every week to that break, that will do me.
All right, mate. We're going to hear for the gaffer and get a squad update, so if you don't mind, get yourself on mute.
You've obviously got a few players, long-term injuries, Tom, Connor, Phil, John. I just
we can go on.
You can go on, yeah. Kind of key players for you.
No, I mean, of course it will affect. If you see and I go back, really far with Yanis. Yanis Hadji he's one of the most creative player we have. He has a long-term injury. He's in the final stretch, so I'm really happy for him. If you see Antonio, how he came in, he's one of the players who performed really well, but he's still available. And you see Tom, Tom had a fantastic start of the season, and also his play will have benefited a lot in our structure. So that's something we miss. Of course, with Goldson out now recently, and Suter and Hellander, we're really short in central defenders. Last season we were short in strikers. But Leon's come in, James Sands. We have Ben Davis. Of course, in full strength. But I think we are affected by players who are not available. So sometimes you need to adjust a little bit. But in the end, you want to keep your structure.
Given your short, Gio, would you expect to be doing a bit of business in January then, in terms of bringing players in?
Well, at the moment, if it stays like this, of course we need to look to do something, as I said. But it's still only half October, so we have 2.5 months. When the January window's open, and I'm hopeful that we have players back at that time.
When do you think Conor will be back?
Well, I'm not sure yet, but hopefully by then we will have him back.
By January? Hopefully. Okay, so is that a better prognosis you've had? Did you think it was going to be longer? Or?
Well, it was a little bit more positive than we thought. But for him, and of course for all the injuries, the World Cup break, it's like 5 weeks you don't have any games, so that you will benefit from that in their recoveries. So hopefully we will have Conor back at that time.
Just one more from me, Nick, if that's okay, just in terms of teenagers in your squad. Yeah. John Lindstrom was in a podcast earlier this week, and he said he's been carrying some sort of ankle injury for a month. Is that something that needs to be treated, or is it okay?
No, he's okay. I mean, we made a lot of scans, and sometimes a scan is there for the physio to see if there's any more damage or things they don't see. And with John was a case that it was okay. So, a scan doesn't always mean that you have something, just to make sure you have the right diagnose. So, John is fit. He's been playing all the games, so I'm happy. We don't have any issues from Wednesday apart from Riedvan. He had a knock on his knee. We're really happy with his performance. But we assessed him today, and still, if he can be available for tomorrow. But it's something that's the only doubt we have for tomorrow.
Is that just short term then with Riedvan?
Yeah, it will be short term. But he had played first 90 minutes, and so he had a little knock. So we have to be careful with him. And but as I said before, also on Wednesday, I'm happy with his contribution on Wednesday. He's much stronger and much further and closer to playing games for us.
You can't catch a break, so
I know. That's what I'm saying. One minute we get somebody back, next minute somebody else is injured or whatever. Riedvan as well. I was looking forward to him possibly playing tomorrow. I was hoping I might have seen him again, Ox, but it is what it is now at Ibrox, eh?
Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully he bounces back and he's fit for tomorrow, even if he gets on the bench and gets some minutes just to keep up. Because he looked all right. Wednesday, hard to judge GB, but because of the opposition, but he still looked okay.
He was positive, Hawks. That's what I liked about him. That's like an absolute gutter hearing that. Like he's got a potential knee injury and that, but you're like, I mean, we have just got the worst luck now. Bring back that doctor that was with Stevie G, because that doctor seemed to, I don't know what he'd done, he sprinkled dust on our players that season, because I can probably count my hand how many injuries we had that season.
It was a coffee, mate. It was a coffee.
Oh, it must be, mate. Must be. Riedvan. Was hoping to see a wee bit more of him. If he makes the bench tomorrow and gets some minutes, that would be fantastic, because the boy is positive and he's got a few skills to him. He's a couple of wee tricks that he's got to get into that box. So, I mean, he's doing, for what I've seen when he plays, he does more than our wingers getting into the box. So I'd actually like to see him actually playing the left wing. If he can manage that, that would be fantastic.
I said again, Southside, I liked, and I know we used to sit at Ibrox. In the first half, you'd have been able to watch him quite closely. And I liked the way he took the ball and his touch. That doesn't matter about the opposition. You're touching or that, you're touching it.
Aye, it's his technique straight away and how you take the ball, and he looks really comfortable, He looks quite feisty, as if he'll go into a tackle and that, Ox, And I know he looks quite small, but he does certainly try and get up for a higme at corners. And that it was funny because one of the corners he was marking one of the players. I can't remember his name, but there was some size of difference, But it didn't actually go to the boy at the back post. But when you seen that, you're thinking, wow. But no, I'm looking forward to hopefully he'll get a run in the team mocks, and hopefully once he gets through this wee knock, probably get by the European game, and hopefully we'll maybe see him shortly in more league games going forward.
Some mixed messages, Joe, for the gaffer about the long term. GB, obviously, Connor could be back a wee bit earlier, but the rest still no real news, I'm interested to see when we hear that Tom Lawrence will be back in training. Obviously, we've had Ruth back. Yeah, we've had Ruth come back into the squad, yeah.
Yep, and he done not too bad the other night, Ox. He again seemed eager to get on the ball. He was trying to get involved for the 15 minutes that he was on and stuff. So, it's another positive. It's another creative player to have back. And again, in these sticky games where we're not looking as though we're going to get that second or third goal, then it's a player that we can now call on, which is good because we're drastically needing it. But the one, like you say, about Lawrence, they're awfully quiet about him, and I hope it's not going to be longer than January. I really want him back in amongst the squad because I think, like I says, he'll make other players tick, especially with his creative play, mate. Because, like I says, that PSV start of the season and stuff like that, alongside Kent, it'd be really helpful if he can get back, mate, because I think he will add goals to our team.
Okay, right. Aye, hopefully it's another creative player with a wee bit of digs outside there.
I definitely like Tom Lawrence, and I agree with what GB was saying. And if you maybe looked at Ridvan getting in the team and all, GB, and you had him, Lawrence and Kent, if Kent was on form, or he would get back to a bit of form if we're going to play him, because nobody's really shown in any of the positions. So if you're saying that you'll be persevering with Ryan Kent, and he was getting a wee bit of an understanding with Tom Lawrence, GB, and you might have Ridvan, who likes to go forward and all. That might be a side of the part where we might look strong, going forward once we can get Tom Lawrence back fit and Ridvan in the team.
Aye, fair shout, mate, fair shout. See how things develop. All right, now that you've heard the presser, what's your team going to be for tomorrow night, the morning afternoon, Biggie?
Come to me first, will you? McGregor, Tav, King, Davies and Borna, but going by the manager's presser. I would have Lundstrom and Davis, and then it will be, I would bring back Kent, I would have Tillman, I would have Scott Wright, and I would Kolak up front.
So Callum gone for you?
Aye, he's gone. Impact player, but he's gone for me for starting. And Matondo and all.
Matondo's disappeared, didn't he? He wasn't even on the bench on Wednesday night.
No, he wasn't. Surprised at that. Maybe he's picked up an injury and he's forgot about him.
Or maybe he was meeting up with Ronaldo. GB?
Aye, Ox, much the same as Southside. So it'll be McGregor, Tav, King, Davies, Borna, Lundstrom, Scotty Arfield, Tillman, aye, and then on that right side, I think it might go with Sakala, maybe. Sakala, Cholak and Kent, I'll go with. But I do think Gio made a mistake dropping him for the other game. He should have kept him going because he was on form. And if it was, I mean, if they turn around saying sports science that he's played too many minutes, then.
What are you talking about?
What's that?
Cholak?
No, sorry. Fashion, mate. I just.
When he came out the team.
He should have kept him in there and kept him going, because the boy was on form, and Fashion seems to be one of these guys. Is when he comes in and out the team, he just doesn't seem to be there. You know what I mean? So I think just because it's the right side, he might go with Fashion, but I might be biased just because I'm not a Scott Wright fan.
All right. Talking about the right hand side of the team, south side, where do you stand in the GT debate?
The what debate?
James Tavernier.
Well, if he was fit, I'm happy to play, and I think Scott Wright and him can play well together. I think the day form a sort of partnership, but with him not going up the park, Ox, and to be honest, Steele wants to play with two wide wingers, and he wants them to go on the ball and go at the defence, whether it's to come inside and get in the box directly or get at the byline and create a chance. I think that's what he wants, the two wingers today, and we have got wingers there with pace, but you just need to start hitting a bit of form. All wingers are inconsistent unless you're Brian Laudrup. That's about the most consistent guy I've seen out in the wing. I mean, think of the wingers we've had the other years, Walters and all that, David Cooper, Peter Houstra and all that. I mean, they've all been in and out. Neil McCann. I mean, they can all be inconsistent at times, but we need to get two wide men on the ball and get them going direct at defences. That's what we need. And because we're lacking a wee bit of creativity. Don't know if I would maybe try Scott Arfield tomorrow, but because he's played a lot of games and it's the third game in 6 days. So, but if he does start, then fair enough. But I think he might be a contender for the Wednesday. So I think he might want to keep his legs, in just my opinion.
All right, get yourself a mute. We're going to have a tune.
I don't know if you can see just what the Rangers really mean to me. These last few years I've been afraid that we might drift away. So I've been telling old stories and singing songs, made me think about where we come from. That's the reason why I feel so very proud today. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. I was staying these close to me, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had. We won 9 in a row, and I'm still dreaming of Brian Laudrup, Trevor Stephen, Marvin Andrews, Seth, keep believing, David Cooper on the wing. We remember Gaza with great affection, the day the helicopter changed direction. Jimmy Baxter, he was pure perfection. Super Ali scores again. Well, let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is Collinsville, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Life's no Rangers I've ever had.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Go dry in the house, Southside. Go dry in the house.
That's a belter of a song, that one, honestly. During COVID, I was listening to it during COVID, and I was like, no, can't even get to Ibrox or nothing here, no. Because it's the Rangers that you love in it, and that's what you want to go and watch week in, week out. I mean, you couldn't, it was absolutely killing us, but now we're back and you can go. But love that song, mate. Certainly love it.
Very emotional. Very emotional. Tells a story. Okay. Right, Miggy. Time for you to be mocked or celebrated, depending what bet you do. We're going to hear Southside's Super 6.
Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for Saturday the 22nd of October. My first selection this weekend is Sheffield Wednesday to win away at Lincoln City. My second selection is Queen's Park Rangers to beat Wigan. My third selection is Blackburn Rovers to beat Birmingham. My fourth selection is Ayr United to beat Cove. My fifth selection is Inverness Cali to beat Raith Rovers. And my last selection this evening is Exeter City to beat Fleetwood. All six pay 42 to 1. My Rangers bet this weekend is Kolak to score first, Rangers to win 2-0, and that pays 14 to 1.
Went for the prices this week, Miggy.
Well, there's some no bad wee prices in there. I think actually
better than last week.
Oh, I know. I was rushed last week. It was an emotional week.
But we'll see where it goes, mate. Bit of form. You're still up for the season, mate, with your Rangers bet, but you're not exactly pushing it out there. Show like to score first. GBs.
It's 14 to 1.
You know, mate, a wee fiver gets you 75, I know. And that's another bet up, I know, mate, but Joe like to score first. He's not been adventurous, has he?
It maybe go for the Ridvan to score any time. That would be a good odds.
I will see. Well, best of luck, Biggin. Best of luck, Hook at Stoats.
Aye, hopefully. Try to. I mean, we've been close with scores and scorers, so I thought I'd like to have went more, but I just went 2-0 and Kolak. He's the guy that scores the goals, so hopefully he starts us off the more, mate.
All right, talking about somebody who scores regularly. I've been joined by old Davey.
Yeah. Oh, hello, ladies. How are we? That's what he said. Linda was on the show there, no? I know that. Anyway, how you doing, guys? I was there listening earlier, and I'm 100% behind what Suicide's saying about getting the points. That's what it is all about from here to the break. And if we can get the points, or even take a draw against the Mankey Mob, keep it at the level that we're getting into the break with, then, as we were talking about there, we could have some of the players back and a bit strengthen the squad a bit. Then the second point I would sort of like to talk about is, how long have we been talking about these injuries? It's every night we're starting talking about them. And we've discussed it, and we keep coming to the same kind of scenario. But I would like somebody at one of these press conferences to say to Gio,
Why isn't we are signing players that have got injuries? Because we would know for definite that that's no his signings, but it doesn't happen.
Obviously Suter had a record of having injuries. Roof, possibly Hollander, who were both signed by the previous manager. Who else are we talking about, David?
Oh, there's too many that you can, you could just, well, Alfie's just no signing, he's just been injured, but he's not playing. But I just don't see where we're coming from when we're signing players who have got that tendency to be carrying injuries when we could have got in. And then we're not giving the young guys a chance when we've got people like Tar playing and we're saying he's injured and he's getting it in the neck for that. And I don't think it's right, but he's can't help it. He's got to get criticism the way he's playing.
Aye, Tom Lawrence, I think, played 41 games for Derby last season, Southside. Ben Davis obviously never played many for Liverpool, was out on loan at Preston. I think he missed pre-season, so that was part of the issue with him rather than an injury. Ridvan, I think he's a slow burner rather than an injury, apart he plays again for us. So we've got to be fair and we're criticising. I get all Davies' thing, frustrating. Roof, Suter, Hollander, yeah, he's got a point there, but
aye. I think that Tom Lawrence just took an injury while playing Davy right at the end of the game, and at the end of the game when the final whistle went, he was still on the ground, and so I had a look at him, and so that's just been unfortunate. I think Ridvan just not been out the country, young boy coming out here. I think they just try to give him hardly any English. I think they were just trying to give him time to settle in and stuff. So I don't think there was any sort of fitness issues or that, injury issues. I think it was just, there is now because he's got an open his knee, unfortunately. But I think before that, Davey, I think in the run of games that we were having coming up, I think he just thought he wasn't able to throw the young boy right into the lines then with the amount of fixtures that we had in the big games. And Ben Davis, I think I agree with Ox. I think it was just match fitness getting him up. It's unfortunate, Davey. We've signed players last, but they're never really fit ready to go like we used to do. They used to come in, we could sign them during the week, and some would play at the weekend and all that in the past. But we've not had them up and ready to go. But I think just one or two picking up injuries has just been unfortunate. I think Roof and Hollander are going long term. You just sort of forget about them. But I'm hoping that maybe Roof can contribute at the moment into the squad going forward and see how long he can actually stay fit for.
Yeah, I agree with that. But what I'm trying to emphasise here is, if you look at this, the people that have came in, I'd still say that Gio's not had any to do with that. And he's getting in the neck, and as Ox says, the stats are telling you where we are, and where we are is where we are, and it could be a lot worse, but it's not. But why on earth, I don't feel that he's not had the choice to bring in who he wants to bring in, because I don't think he would have brought some of them in.
It's an interesting point of view. I don't think you're alone in that thinking, Davey. GB?
No, Davey, I feel the same about that. It's some of the players that when you look at them, maybe to a certain extent, Ridvan looks a kind of player that you think Gio would probably give the green light to, but Tom Lawrence doesn't jump out to me as if Gio's went into like the English Championship and fund Tom Lawrence. That doesn't add up to me, that one. As much as I'm glad that Tom Lawrence has joined us, it just doesn't seem a Gio signing. Plus, as well, with the amount of like Dutch coaches we've got there and Gio as well, I just don't understand why we've never went into the Dutch market. I mean, I know it's an expensive market, but surely, especially with the ex-under-18s Ajax coach being in that, he would have picked up on somebody that's got a bit of talent about them that we could snap up on the end of a contract or something like that. But if this is what Gio signed up to, then it is still in Gio's head, because at the end of the day, I would imagine he's still got the final say. If they present him with 3 players and they say to him, that's all we can give you, Gio, you've got to pick for that bundle, then at the end of the day, it's him that's getting the green light to it.
Can I just bring up point up in that, GB?
Yeah, of course you can, baby. Of course you can.
Yeah. I'm not wanting to get into the Gerrard scenario because that's history now. I'll move on. But I was listening to Sky Sports and they were interviewing an Aston Villa supporter. And they said, what do you think of that coming out of the blue? He said, no, didn't come out of the blue. It's been coming for a while. He said, but I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming who's on that park. And I'm blaming them up the stairs. Now, if you take Gerrard out of that, there's quite a lot of that's very familiar for me.
Aye, once they go across the right line, sometimes players will always get managers of sacks outside that. It's the way the game seems to work.
Aye, I think maybe out of the players that were signed, possibly Tillman might have been one where maybe the Ajax coach had maybe seen or heard him, maybe Ron Mackay contacts at Bayern Munich or something, but maybe thinking about the age of him and that, he might have played in some of the games against Ajax or something, and maybe that's how we might have took him, Davy. Matondo, I've got no idea, and then the rest of them, they don't really look like a Giovanni signings, but at the end of the day, that's something that'll need to get clarified at the AGM coming up, so we'll see what questions get asked, and asked somebody will maybe get up and ask Gio, did you actually sign the players, or are these players getting signed and you've then got to coach them? So somebody has to go up and get the questions asked to Ross Wilson, and then by that time we'll have a clear picture. Then we can all speculate, but I think these questions will be asked at the AGM coming up, and then hopefully we'll all get the answers.
Yeah, great point. Great points, Lucy. Great point.
Talking about great points, I received a text message. A guy said, my missus has said, oh no, south side's a tip QPR. You'll need to change your coupon. You've got the...
Can I say something just quickly? See, when you look at Alfie's performance the other night, right? Now, we've seen Kolak play, right? Now, we had a good wee bit of the ball. We were trying to go forward when against Dundee the other night, right? But you look when Roof come on, he done more running about into wee spaces. We know Kolak runs into wee channels and all that. I just felt Alfie sort of stood about the middle of the park, looked for the ball, like go it and laid it half. But, you know, you can get through the motions on the park and you're talking about if players chucked it. He didn't seem to be making many runs. I know he doesn't always, but he just looks a bit more livelier. So I would just ask you, 2 or 3, what do you actually think his performance the other night?
Honestly, awful. GB?
Me personally, I wouldn't have started him.
You said that, David, but I actually agreed with starting him. I thought he let himself down. GB?
Aye. Southside, for me, mate, since Alfie done that carry on when Gio dropped him for the squad, I was finished in with Alfie, and he's just all he's done is back up how I feel about him. He's a guy all about himself, and he half the time in that part the other night there he was sulking. I mean, and he was sulking when he came off as well, shaking his head and stuff like that. To be honest, he's just as well as just staying away for the squad. As much as he's a good player, he's not a team player. He's definitely not a team player. And what I say is, I think there's got to be a lot more players coming to our squad. Look at how Antonio's came into our team, and he knows it's a pleasure to play for Glasgow Rangers. He's hungry for goals. And he even said in his press conference he wants to be the number 1 striker. So he's purposely going out every day, positive vibes, wanting to be the best. And you've got a guy in there sulking about because he's not getting picked first and all that carry on. Doesn't work for me.
We've got a decision to make with Alfie. I think Alfie's still, arguably, a fit Alfie's still one of our top players. Southside, a fit Alfie, a lot to offer. And I think I disagree with GB slightly. There's been times in the past, I know the past is the past, but he's carried that team on his back, mate.
Aye, don't get me wrong, Alfie's been phenomenal for us. I just looked up the other night.
Well, it was awful.
His contribution, and I'm thinking, right, people are saying Kent's chucked it, right? he's no sort of playing for him. He's just not looking a wee bit interested, and he's the guy that we're looking to get the ball to create. And I just looked at Alfie and I thought, you're not really looking as if you're making a wee run off the ball. We look at Colak when he's been in the park. He's moving about, he's running about, he's chasing, he's looking for spaces. He's always at the edge of the box. He's not great when he comes short, but now and again he'll maybe make a good pass, and hopefully we can develop that. I just thought Alfie, when he came short, it was an easy thing for him today. He knows he could take the ball in and then maybe lay it off, and then that was it. He could get involved without really penetrating their defence. No, and I was just a bit, nah, you're not doing enough for me, you know. That's just what I thought, Ox, you know. But going forward, I think you know, you can't rely on Kemar Roof to get you at the end of the season, and he'll be fit as a backup to Colak. And I think there's games, Davey, where we do have to bring Alfie in or somebody else to maybe give him a wee bit of rest time, because he's a sole striker that we're relying on now. But Alfie might have to stay for backup, but his attitude needs to change. And as GB says, is it going to change? Because we've seen him be unprofessional before umpteen times at the club, no?
GB, you want to come back in?
I just quite like. I mean, so I said, totally agree. It's the attitude thing. By the way, I love Alfie scoring goals for us, and the way he's been in European competitions for us has been outstanding. But it's always the disobedience that does my head in with him. It's just, he's never. I mean, if you put Joak on the other night there, he would be bursting, running about, trying to get the ball and all the rest of it. And to be saying that Alfie's still no fit, I mean, that's terrible. I mean, end of the day, if he's wanting to be back in that team, he should be hammering that gym or whatever, or getting himself fit. I know you need to be match fit and stuff like that, but I mean, there's times where you just have to take it on yourself and getting back in the squad, and he's still running about there as if he's towing a caravan and all that, Kieran. And it just, to me, just shows that he's no bothered about it. He knows that he'll get picked at some point, and like I say, his attitude needs to change big time for me if he's got a future at Rangers.
Interesting to see if he's still here this time next year, Southside.
If I'm honest, Alfie's here longer than I thought he would be here, Ox, and I was happy that he sort of stayed. But at the end of the day, we've got to look at who's wanting to go forward ways and that, and as much as we might have to keep him to the end of the season, or we might get some type of offer in from in January and it'll work to the club, and if we do take something, then hopefully we could go out and get somebody else that can come in as a backup just to get us up to the end of the season. But it's attitude and all that. I love Alfie. He's done a great job for us. He's been outstanding. He's carried that team. He's carried the attack. We know exactly what he does, but we need him to do it when he gets a chance in the team. And he missed a sitter the other night, and that's the difference between Colak, and we've seen Defoe and we've seen Roof. They would probably have dispatched that chance. Alfie doesn't. Sometimes he misses them. And that's just the thing, and that could have set us off the other night with 2 more goals. But just thought his work rate and the way things. Don't get me wrong, when we scored against Motherwell, he's on the side of the park and he's smiling and hugging and all that. So you've seen that side of him, but I just thought in a Rangers jersey we need more of you, Alfie, I'm afraid.
It's when the chips are down. Oh, sorry.
No, you go, GB, then we'll go together.
It's just, sorry, it just quite like I succeed. It's just, see when the chips are down with Alfie sometimes, and when we really need him just to go out there and do a performance. See, like I said, that game with Dundee the other night there, we just needed him to go out there and grab that ball and put his 2 goals up and put us out of sight. And again, he didn't. Like you say, he was jogging about and not really making the runs and stuff like that. And you're like, we need better tonight. We're in a right tough game tonight, and we need to get through to this semi-final. And that's when you need your top players to do what they need to do. And Alfie just seems to always let us down at the wrong moments, sadly.
Davey?
Yeah, I agree with you to an extent, but I'm going by what I've seen watching him lately. He's been a cult figure for us for quite a few years. Totally agree with all that. He's been marvellous. He was great. Saturday Ramora, can you trust him? Again, he's a cult. He's playing like Ronaldo. He's throwing a dummy like Ronaldo. And we can't afford that at this point of the season. I mean, managers all over the world will turn around and say to you, I can't ask any more of my players as long as they leave 110% out in that park. Now, don't tell me you can say that about him. That's my point.
Well said, Davey. Well said. I think sometimes he wears his heart on his sleeve and the faces he's pulled. Does it help him, if that makes sense, Southside?
Aye. Listen, Davey, it's we know how good all the players are. A few of them could probably try a bit harder, I think. Right, but going forward now and where we are and in this season, you can know what they've all done in the past, but they need to be doing it now and in the present. And that's what we need at our club now. It's not what you could do 6 months ago or what you did last year. It's what you're doing now. When you get a chance to wear that Glasgow Rangers jersey and go out and play in front of your support that we pay good money to go and watch, aye, we want a bit. Of course, we want entertained, but at the end of the day, Davey, we want to win.
Yeah,
when you buy your season book, would you buy it for the games against them, Aberdeen, Hibs, and Hearts? That's it. You don't buy your season ticket for any other game in the league. You're not really bothered about that. You know, and see, at the end of the day, aye, you want to be entertained, but if you go through a season and the football's not been great, see, at the end of the day, what do we all wait for? We all buy it because we want to see us lift that trophy at the end of the season. And as long as we win that league, that's the end all and be all. But you want better performances, and I'm hoping we're going to get them. I just don't want good performances a day. But at the end result is you win the league by getting the points in the bag. And at the moment, we're getting wins in the league. So long may that continue.
Well said.
You're here. See, Hibs, I think their biggest attendance at their stadium for 30 years. And they really lowered their prices. Maybe some of the teams in Scotland, if they want to get bums on seats, it's something they're going to have to look at. GB?
Well, the way the cost of living's gone, Ox, it's a thing that I think most clubs will need to look at if they want their fans through the door and contributing to their clubs. At the Motherwell game, you see a team, you see a club that cut off their nose to spite their face. You could have probably had more Rangers fans in there, giving them more money, helping them build their club, helping them invest in their squad. But they turn their nose up to it. And if they continue on that path, then there's only got to be one outcome, especially the way prices are going, with energy and all the rest of it, mate.
Aye, I get it. What's your thinking, Davey? You've seen some changes in how people go to the football. Do you think it is too expensive? Do you think the players are getting paid too much money? Just briefly, mate.
Well, if you're looking at the European Cup, we've got ripped off with that, and I think what makes it a lot worse is the performances that have been going with us. You might go up there with the big boys, you pay the big bucks. But if you look at our prices as in the league, and then you look at the Premiership in England, we're still they're getting a lot more for their dollar. But up here, I feel sorry for. I've followed the Jers for 60-odd plus years. Been lifted there on the turnstiles and dodged the fares. But, the money that I took out a season ticket when we were right at the grinder, support them as much as I could. Then I had to give away at half time because my nips were frozen. And then we're still... I still think for what we're getting...
Davey, I'm just taking on note of that. Just give me a second. Get Davey gloves for his birthday. I'm just taking a note of that. All right, carry on, Davey.
That's true, but I came home one time, I was playing East Stirling or something, and we're up about 3, and I says to this guy, all right, mate, I'm away. Are you going for a pie? I says, no, I'm going home. I says, I can't feel my toes. The wife come in and she says, well, you're a bit early home tonight. I said, oh, good, I'm freezing down.
That must have been murdered. You, the boyfriend, and you were meant to be a match.
No, I think it's a hard one to call regarding finances. But I think for what they're getting for their buck now, they're definitely getting shortchanged.
Aye. But what's your view at Southside? You're there, Stevie, yourself, my boy, your boy, and Stevie's boy, and Sunday. You look down the other end, and there's more empty seats.
I know. They used to give you a bit of the stand where the teams come out, but they're stoked at as well. I used to get a bit of that. It was £31, Davey. It used to be, I think it was about £27 they used to charge you. It's went up to 31. St Johnstone's £31 as well, the next away game. I think it's overpriced for what you're getting, because you're going there at St Johnstone will probably fill 3 ends, nearly 4. They'll probably fill a bit of the air end and all in the main stand, but there'll be bears in there. But we'll fill a good 3 ends, and we know what we're going to expect when we get there. They'll just sit in, we've got to attack them, break them down, bumpy park, kick the ball long, waste time, no ball boys. And they'll say, because it's Rangers going up there, we have more police costs today and all that, so obviously we need to put the tickets to the price up. The pies go up, as Big Stevie will complain about, the juice goes up because Rangers are in town, Davey, it's cheaper if maybe Hibs are going up there or somebody else. But when we go there, they put the prices up and the food and all for everybody. I wish it was a bit cheaper, Davey, but I understand to run Glasgow Rangers and we rely on the supporters coming into the stadium, and if it's no price right for season books, which they're at, probably the football's going to stay the price it's at. The only thing I think is when we go to play them, I think £52 is a bit outrageous for a game against them, if I'm honest.
I'm not advocating about the prices should be dearer. I'm just saying what you're getting to watch. Because the home supporters at Ibrox, I've said for years and years, they line up, the whistle goes, they go back and we go forward. That's your 90 minutes. I mean, how's that entertaining? They just all camp in.
Anyway, talking about a man that knows a thing or two about entertainment, we've been joined by Bob Ger. Evening, Bob Ger.
Hi, good evening, everybody. How you doing? All right.
How you doing, sir?
Well, can I start with paying my commiserations to one of my heroes that passed away yesterday, the great Jimmy Miller.
Yeah.
I used to go up, I hear you talking about the price of the football there. I used to go up and watch him every week, and I was just a young laddie, and got the train out of Glasgow, and it cost me the princely sum for a day, £1. I'll no break it down for you, maybe sometime when we've got a bit more time. And it just shows you how the economics have changed, what you're paying to get in and what you're watching now. I was watching Henderson, McMillan, Miller, Brandon Wilson backed up with the great Jim Baxter. So, and the likes of Harold Davis and Ronnie McKinnon and stuff, I don't need to tell you, the team. But in the days, absolutely wonderful. You were entertained, you saw plenty of goals, you saw plenty of football. Change days these days with VAR and tactics. Anyway, how we all doing tonight? Another performance like that on Wednesday night, it can't be tolerated.
No, it wasn't a great fair, Bob. I want your view just before we get. I'll come back to you about Wednesday night and where we're going, Bob. I'd be really interested in your view on VAR coming in.
On VAR? No, I'm not a fan of VAR. I don't know, use a word like fan for referees, but I'd rather let the referees just referee the game the same as they've always done.
All right, fair enough.
Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't get it, but I'm not a fan of VAR.
Okay. All right, mate. All right, carry on about performances, Bob.
Aye. A man who's a prince among goal scorers, and he came to the back of the net, was it? Anyway, who we got available tomorrow? I don't know who's fit and who's no fit. I think it's a bit of a dolly mixture of everything. I couldn't have seen Gio's interview tonight.
We've still quite a decent team on the park, Southside. I mean, I think Tab will play, I think McGregor will play, I think Davis will play, I think Borner will play, and then it's whether you play King or Sands. Bolton plays. Yeah, we agree on that?
Aye, 100%.
And then midfield, it looks as if potentially Lundstrom, Tillman and Arfield. Would that make sense? Cholak plays up front, Kent comes back in, and then you've got this problem on the right-hand side of the 3, and I think Southside went for
Scott Wright. I think
Scott Wright.
I think his performance Wednesday.
GB went for Sakala, mate. So I think they'll be close between them, if that makes sense, Bob. Yeah.
I thought Sakala was terrible. That's been honest with you.
He wasn't the worst, but he was terrible.
No, he wasn't alone. He wasn't alone, but he had a poor game the other night. I thought Scott Wright did enough to justify a place them on. Although they played him on the left-hand side, but he did do all right, Scott Wright. I would give him a start them on in places. I'd put Sakala on the bench and give Scott Wright a chance for the off. Aye. Yeah, I don't think you're far away from the team there, Ox. Don't think you're far away. But I just wish to hell all of these injuries would clear up and give us a stronger pool of players to challenge for this league and the cups and all, of course. That's all you're hearing about the news. Injuries. Where is it stemming from?
Well, if they were on the same, I would say there was issues Southside. You know, if everybody was a hammy, you'd say, right, there's something no right here. But they seemed random, didn't they? Random.
You've seen how Connor get injured, and obviously we've seen how Tom Lawrence get injured. So they two that we've noticed that happened on the park, and obviously Tav's obviously been carrying an injury. So, but Bob J, we've got to get the game won tomorrow, and that's that sorted. And no matter who takes the field, they just go out there, represent Glasgow Rangers. Hopefully, give a performance, and we'll get us a few goals. But at the end of the day, we need to get the 3 points, and I'm sure we will.
Well, like I said 5 minutes ago, so these people are going to come, and I use the word shoe on or selling. That's what Livingston are going to do. We all know that. So it's imperative that we pick up 3 points tomorrow. Especially it's a home game, and it's got to be done. And I think it will be done. I think it could be done with 2 or 3. We can't perform like that again. That Shamozzle on Wednesday night. Surely not. Surely Rangers are better than that. But I couldn't believe my eyes at times. But I think we will improve.
I hope so. Right, okay, just get a wee audio that what VAR actually looks at, just for you, Bob J, just to see what you think. So get yourselves on mute. Let's hear it.
The introduction of video assistant referees to Scottish football is to assist on-field referees. There are 4 match-changing situations that VAR can be used for. The first criteria for VAR involvement is straight red cards. VAR will be used to assist the referee in the case of straight red card incidents, not yellow cards and nor second yellow cards. VAR can only assist in the case of straight red card incidents. The second criteria is penalty decisions. The role of the VAR is to assist the referee in conjunction with the award or non-award of a penalty kick. This includes play in the immediate lead up to the award of a penalty. The third criteria is goals. The role of VAR is to assist the referee to determine whether a goal should or should not be awarded. This includes play in the immediate lead up to the award of a goal. The fourth and final criteria for VAR intervention is mistaken identity. Should the situation occur where the referee cautions or sends off the wrong player or is unsure which player should be sanctioned, the VARs will inform the referee so the situation can be reviewed before the player exits the field of play. If an incident is not one of the 4 mentioned so far, VAR cannot intervene. VAR will not get involved in the award of corner kicks, throw-ins or yellow card offences unless the VAR thinks the yellow card should have been a red. VARs can only recommend action to the on-field referee, who will still make the final decision.
Right, okay. Aye. Interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to make a game different. I just want fairness, Davey. That's all I want. I want the fair cracking of it. If you get them right and it goes against you, well, that's a game. If it goes for you and it's correct, that's all I'm looking for, Davey.
Oh, definitely. I totally agree with that. Can I just cut back to what Suicide was talking about, the places of the football? Here's a wee trivia one for you. As I told you the other night, I was at the cup final, Celtic Rangers 66. I think I was 17 then, or 16. Anyway, can any of you have an idea, or you'll probably not get this, how much it was for a ticket that night? In old money.
Of course, Southside will get it. Southside was there. Southside.
I wasn't there. GB had more chance of being there than me.
Well, you're probably not get
Cup final then.
One shilling and sixpence.
What was that, Bob? Yeah.
1 shilling and sixpence. That's a guess.
No, you're miles it.
No?
No. It was 25 shillings.
25 bob?
25 bob. You work that into your money and tell me what it is now.
With inflation?
Well, whatever. But, I mean, we're talking about modern day prices, you know. And there was no inflation in the days. It was 25 shillings for a cup final. Celtic Rangers, 1966. So what was 25 bob would be worth now? No much.
Oh, we worth quite a bit, mate. You'd be surprised. What were people earning then? What were they earning a tenner a week?
No, as much as that. Oh.
No, not even to get that. No in 66, no.
Well, decent people were not used to.
Anyway, get back to VAR. I definitely have one point to bring up regarding that. Is I definitely object to, I'm not object to it, but I think if there's any dubiety, a referee should go to the screen. I'm not keen on this. Somebody in the studio says this is where it, unless it's a stonewaller. But I still think that, and it happened in England, and eventually they started getting them, the refs, to the screens because there was that much controversy about it. That would be a worry for me.
Didn't help Hibs tonight with the record attendance, Bob, did it?
What was it?
Hibs had a record attendance tonight, did they?
Aye, it didn't help them. Bar on the record attendance.
Well, I just seen that St Johnstone did beat them 2-1, eh? But I couldn't. What did they have as a record attendance? About 11,000 or something.
Well, I think it was full. It was a 10 and a 5 again, Bob. Yeah.
Was it?
Aye.
There's the generosity coming with them. I've got a good mate, so I season ticket holder with them. Aye, the record attendance of the High Bees. They probably get about, what, I don't know, 15,000, 16,000 tonight. Was it? You got the figure in front of you.
I'll get it for you. We'll get it. But but the revenue would be great. You know, if the prices.
No, but I mean, when it equalises itself, if it hadn't been cheaper, how many people would have went along? That's what you've got to ask yourself.
I'll go for 8,000. 8,000, that's all I'll get.
No, it was more than that. Right, okay. GB, how's it going to go tomorrow? How's it going to pan out? How's this game going to pan out? Tell me, start to finish.
I'm hoping tomorrow, Ox, that it'll start off with a fast attacking pace. I think you'll have, like say, Arfield back in the squad. Hopefully Tillman will kick on from his Motherwell, what do you call it, Pele run that he done. And then we've got our number one striker back up front alongside Borna with his crossing tomorrow. So I think you'll see Cholak get 2 tomorrow, and somebody else will get a third. I don't know who, but somebody will.
Is that on the plural? You know, Cholak, Southside.
Aye, Gary, good choice, but you can't be scoring 3. That Goosey's a bet for everybody that puts it on. No, I don't care. Battle them more, I get 5 or 6 hopefully. But no, I think we've got to go in the front foot up. So I think we've just got to go on and dictate the play. I think we've got to get the ball out to the wingers. I think if we've got a creative player in the middle of the park like Tillman playing, I think we've got to try and get him on the ball. And hopefully we create the chances for the big man up front, because in the box we know he's deadly. So get him about the ball. I'm sure he'll be mobile enough for us up the front. He'll make runs. And I'm hoping we're right bang on it at the start. And that's the way I see the game going. Just total domination. I think they've got the big black boy up the front. I think he's quite a good big player. He scored against us the last time. He'll probably look at who he's up against and maybe think he might be able to hold the ball up against him and create. But I'm hoping that we're dominating the game. They'll probably knock some long balls. think it might be good to see Stephen Kelly if he's playing for him tomorrow, since he was at Rangers. Don't know if they'll play him or not. Right, there'll be a game for him. They might want to knock on Boz, but that aside, I also expect a Rangers win, to be honest.
So do I, mate. I think we'll win. Your bet will be the minimum, mate. Yeah.
Aye, of course.
Aye, your bet will be the minimum. That's what I'm saying. That'll be 4 out of 9. We take it. We move on. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I'm expecting 3 points or more above Jet.
Well, it's got to be. It's imperative in a home game. We must win tomorrow. And I think we will, because I didn't see Livingston, as you say, about the big coloured fella up the front, but I didn't see Livingston offering much. Although that man can organise them, like he's done well with them. But it's a back to the wardrobe for them the moment. The same. It's just exact replica of the rest of them. They come to Ibrox and it's a back to the wardrobe, try and hit you on the break. So come on, Rangers, up the pace tomorrow. Let's get a performance out of you. I hope and pray for a performance every time we kick off, but it's not been materialising lately. Well, but I think Rangers will win comfortably tomorrow. I'll go 2-0.
It's not all about performance, as you well know, Davey. Mrs. Old Davey will tell you that. Sometimes it's end results that count.
You've been reading my mail. No, I've the way things have been panning out lately, I've been one of the critics about performances like thousands have been. But see, now, till we get to the break, I don't care about the performances. I'm with Suicide. 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, whatever. Keep it clean all the way to the break. The performances are done. They'll take care of themselves eventually. So I'm just want a nice wee run to the break, and I'll be happy. I don't care what the scores are, as long as we get one more name.
Aye. I get it. With GB, I did agree with a lot of the stuff you said at the start of the show about we're not playing well. Yeah, but it's all about W's.
Mate, like, I was trying to... I mean, the other night I was also upset about the game, but then when I did calm down, I did think back to the times when...
I thought it was your round. That's what I thought was upsetting you.
Jingle jangle in the pockets. I know it made me sit and think about the times when I was sitting watching some of the Walter Smith sides against the likes of Dundee United at home, and we would grind out a 1-0 result against them, and you'd walk away and you'd be like, oh, that was an awful game, but you never really went away from it going like, oh, I want Walter Smith out. So it's maybe just been a bit of frustration with Gio. Sometimes he doesn't make himself clear in his interviews. He doesn't probably inspire a lot of the fans half the time. And like I say, it's good luck to him, because he is fighting fire a wee bit with all the injuries and stuff like that. And hopefully tomorrow he gets his squad together, he goes out and gives the fans a wee performance. And we just, like Davey says, keep getting the wins and we'll march on to Christmas.
20,421 was Bob Jack, just for your information.
Dear me, 20,000 with them? That's a shock to me, anyway. Shock to me, but there you go. Well, I mean, it's a healthy attendance, that.
Aye.
We want healthy attendances in our game.
Aye. Better atmospheres all around. Grounds full, marketing better. There's a lot of positives. You get it right. Right, okay. Southside's went for a 2-0. GB's thinking, what are you thinking, mate?
3-0, and the extra guy was going to be Arfield. He'll get a goal tomorrow.
Right, okay. All right. I'm going to go for your bet being correct at half time, Southside. There you go.
I'll be happy with that, mate. Be very delighted at that.
And we're going to equal it in the second half. There you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. Who's your goal scorers, Ox?
Well, I'm going for Cholak for the first one, isn't I?
Aye.
Then I don't care after that.
You forgot the players' names?
Aye, I forgot all the players' names. McCoist, I don't care. If he plays them, or if you're talking about for the team, we thought at the time, Castle, it would be good if Ryan Kent could get a goal if he plays. You know, you're hopeful it gives him a bit of confidence. But if I was picking the team on form, Southside, I wouldn't play him.
No, probably you wouldn't, but I just think the way your team is now, I probably would just I play him back in, mate, tomorrow, for me. I think because they'll sit in deep in that. It's just about getting about them and create chances and hopefully have a bit of a tempo. So he goes in my team, mate.
I get it, mate. I get it, but you know, I get it. I think he will play, but just don't for him. No. Right, okay. How you see it panning out tomorrow, Bob Jet?
How do I see it panning out tomorrow?
Aye.
No, just as I said a few minutes ago, they'll do their backs to the wall. And I don't think the quality to do anything else. Backs to the wall for them, and they'll try and hold out. Try and hold out and snatch a one each jaw or nothing each jaw. But I think Rangers will be too much for them. It's predictable what they're going to do. The predictability of the SPL and every time clubs come here, it doesn't matter who it is, maybe apart from them will come out and have a go, you're right, but they shoehorn themselves in hoping for a point. You see it week in, week out, and I think it'll just be exactly the same tomorrow. Rangers will have most of the ball, most of the possession, obviously, and it's up to them to work it into the back of the net 2 or 3 times, as many times as they want from me in the next year. But that's the way it'll pan out in the morning.
Okay. So we're all pretty positive, old Davey. We're all pretty positive.
Well, that's the only way to be, isn't it? I mean, I'll go for it and I'll just take a Brisbane, but obviously you don't want that because you end up with a squeaky bum time. Well, Wednesday. But I'll take any kind of result as long as we've got the points in the bag and we come out of the game with no injuries. Because that is one thing we cannot afford to have.
I can't see it, Southside there.
I want to get a few goals, Davey. I'd like a decent performance, right? There's a lot of vultures out there circling, right? There's a lot of people wanting change and all that, and it's not just as easy as that. I just hope that he gets the results that's required. The players do the job for him, the ones that we've got available in the park, and then it breeds a bit of confidence. And once we get the players back, then we can have a go at it. But if we had a defeat or a draw, it'll be up in the air again, and everybody will be screaming for his heat. But at the moment, I support him because he's a manager in and out. And at the moment, we've got a squad there good enough to win this league. So the way I see it is, we just got to battle down the hatches, mate. Like I've said many a time, just get behind the team, support it, and hopefully the performances will start to show in the park, and the players will start to get a bit more confidence because they'll know we're on their backs. No, they heard it Wednesday night at the end of the game, so that doesn't help either. But it's acceptable if people feel like that, they're entitled to do it. So I just hope we get a good game tomorrow, mate, and we certainly get 3 points for a good performance, and that'll get a bit of harmony back, hopefully.
Are you telling me, Southside, that people should be in their seat for the full 90 minutes at Ibrox? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, look, you're just trying to rope me in here. Listen, well, if you're going by, as people say, if you go to somewhere else and it's no good, you leave early, right? So if you go to the cinema and you don't like it, then you can leave. I don't know if you actually boo in the way you're at the cinema, mind you, but what I will say is I'll sit in my seat for 90 minutes. There's a lot of people running about my day, and it's everybody's choice to do what they want, mate. But the one thing is, we all support the Glasgow Rangers. That's where we buy our books to go to watch the team for. And it's a hard watch when it's not going well. But it is everybody's prerogative to leave early or no.
I hear you. Aye, but when people go to the pictures, they always make sure they're in for the start of the movie as well. Right, where are we now? We've reached that time in the evening, GB. Would you believe it? Time flies when all Davies getting his odd Maltesers, doesn't it?
Yep, and when the chat is good, mate, when the chat is good. I know it's been brilliant, Ox. Thanks for having us on tonight, buddy. And
no, thank
you.
He have you on. That's not me. Box pays the wages.
Aye, true. I know, but a great show and great points for Davey and Bob the other night and Southside. It's what I says. I think Antonio Cholak's press conference is rubbing off his. That man says he loves by positive vibes and let the Bears have some positive vibes and take that into the game tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get the 3 points and a convincing win, mate.
Yeah. Bob Chair, Davey, quickly. Bob Chair first.
Well, I'll leave you. I never ever leave Rangers very well. I stay right to the bitter end all the time.
Thank you.
Here's a thought for you guys: 9 pint of heavy for £1. And I'll say good night. So we've been talking about economics tonight. Good luck in the morning, Jack.
I tell you, that was a price in 1966. You could get 9
Aye.
Right, okay. So that would make the equivalent of that cup final ticket about 70 quid now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Right. Davey.
Yes, thanks again for listening to me rabble on, and great show in town, and look forward to another 3 points in the bag. A pleasure again. Good night.
The one and only Southside.
Aye, mate, I'd like to thank you for having us on tonight, and it's been good to be on with GB also this evening, mate. Looking forward to Rangers winning tomorrow, continuing the league for them. So I've been in my seat for 90 minutes plus whatever, and then hopefully we'll have warmer weather next Wednesday. We might be kept in an extra hour longer than normal, so looking forward to that, mate, and hopefully Glasgow Rangers will do us proud.
I think it might be a wee bit warmer in Naples than it is in Govan, mate. Yeah?
Shorts are out, mate. The shorts and the quick sand shoes that can run really fast.
I would get a pair of the Heelys with gears on them, mate.
I'm glad to shop a bit for a wee scooter.
Right, okay. Thanks, GB. Thanks, Southside. Thanks to old Davey, Jimmy, who phoned in earlier, and of course, Bob Chair. Thanks to Fox and All School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back with a pre-match show at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for listening. Take it away, All School Blue.